Hello, welcome back. This is the next week, hopefully, or in the same week. I don't know. I'm recording it at the same time because I need to find time to do this. So this is lesson 2, and today we'll talk about rhythm notation and time signatures. I'm just going to teach you the way that I learned and most people in my class and people around me learned. It's very simple actually. We begin with the whole note. It's just a circle basically. It's kind of boring. That divides into 2. That's the same amount as one line with a circle on it. Wait, how do I draw this? And these in turn goes to these. Now, this is a whole note, this is a half note, this is a quarter note. It's pretty simple, it's just mathematical how this works. There is no feeling or expression in how to use these correctly or something like that. It's just math, this. It's not about creating melodies or solos or anything like that, it's just logical. So it's kind of a hard part for many people. And these divide into 8th notes, kind of hard to say. It's with a flag and one of those. Yeah, you get the picture. I don't want to do all of that. And then those in turn divide into 16th notes with 2 flags. Looks kind of like an F. And it keeps going like that, and these are 16th notes. The dotted notes are basically, if I draw up a quarter note here, and I do a little dot after it, that means that you add half of its own value. In this case, half of a quarter note is an 8th note. So that means that this is the same amount of time as this plus this. But this dot doesn't mean that you add an 8th note, because if you're with a half note and you add a dot, that means you add half of that value, which is a quarter note, which makes this the same amount of time as this plus this. It's kind of a weird thing to do. And also, when we're talking about this, you can add a bow in between these. So instead of the plus, you just remove the plus and you add this. It means the exact same thing as the plus. Nothing else. It means that you just sound this part and you keep on sounding that part as well. You don't re-articulate. Then there's the pauses. You have this pause, which is like a lamp sitting in a roof, and it's a whole lamp. It's an entire lamp. And that means that it's a whole note. That's how I remember it. And then, sometimes, the lamp falls down and it breaks into 2 parts. And then it's on the floor. And then it's half, so it's a half note pause. Then we have the quarter note pause. It looks kind of like a 3. I don't really know how to draw it. I don't really draw this, but it's a quarter note pause. And then we have the thing that looks kind of like that. It's an 8th note pause. And then we have the thing that looks kind of like that, and that's the 16th note pause. And you can see it just goes on 32nd note pause, goes on like that forever. And yeah, so the more notes you have, the more complicated it's going to be in your bar. So most modern songs are in 4/4, time signature 4/4, which is written like this, 4/4, which means you have time enough for 4 quarter notes. So in a bar of 4/4, you have enough time for 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes. That's the basic time signature that I'm gonna work in. It's also enough space for just one whole note or 2 half notes as well. They're not usually that big. That was just me. Yeah, now I need to remember again. But here, yes, you can have 2 eighth notes. And that's... how much is that of the bar? That's a quarter note of a bar. That's 25% of it. That's a weird way to think. Don't do that. Then you can add a quarter note. So now we're halfway there. Oh, we're halfway there. And then we can add maybe a half note. So that's enough for this. And you can't add anything more. And then we'd make another bar. And we could just do all eighth notes, except in the beginning, because that's just going to be a quarter note pause. So we just need to take away 2 of the eighth notes. And since they're called eighth notes, it's kind of easy because you can only have 8 of them in the whole note. So now we just take away 2 from that, and that is 6. So we add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eighth notes. And then we need to tie them together because this won't work otherwise. Now we're going to talk about time signatures. So this is a bit more advanced, and for the people who didn't really understand the last part, you need to know that before you can start learning this. If you knew all of that and think that it's very easy, you're probably going to catch on to this very fast as well. Because I don't think it's that complicated. It's basically just listening to a lot of music in different time signatures and getting the feel of it. That's the hard part, in being able to count. But very basic, you can have, instead of 4, 4, you can have 5, 4 instead, which means that you have enough space for 5 quarter notes this time. Or you can do 10, 8, which is basically the same thing as 5, 4, but here the pulse is on the 8th note. So in this time we have enough time for 10 eighth notes, or 5 quarter notes, or whatever. You just need to count like this. And it's also, most common one right now in fusion and stuff is 7, 8, which is, when I count it, when I play drums and I count it, I count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And it's basically just adding groups of these. So since this is an odd time signature, we'll just add 3 plus 4, and we'll count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The way I counted it before was 4 plus 3, but it's basically the same thing, with just the feeling is a bit different. So I'm just going to leave you with that, and you can just understand as much as you like of that. And that's lesson 2. See you next week.